Have you ever been in a relationship where the other person seemed to be the only thing that made you happy? Maybe you feel empty when they don't like you, like your worth and mental stability depend on them. This mental dependence takes away your peace. You feel like you're walking a tightrope all the time, afraid of being rejected or not getting enough attention. It takes over your life and makes you forget who you are, locking you in a loop of stress and judging yourself. But there is a way out. Stoic theory, which has been around for hundreds of years, gives us useful ways to break free from this cycle of dependence and take back control of our feelings. You will learn how to make your mind stronger, find peace within yourself, and become truly emotionally independent. Stay until the end, because we're going to break these Stoic rules down step by step. This could be the big change you need to make in your life to become more free and real. Before we start, please like and join if you like what you're reading and want to help more people learn about the power of Stoicism. Your help makes this community of growth and change bigger. Every like is a step toward giving this knowledge to people who need it the most. Now is the time to begin our journey toward mental freedom. Lesson 1: Take care of your own garden. Think of your life as a big garden. It's not full of bright flowers, it's full of weeds, flowers that have died, and plants that are too weak to grow. Finally, think about how often you've ignored this garden in favor of other people's, maybe while you waited for someone to come take care of yours. Here, Stoicism tells you to take a moment to realize that true happiness and peace don't depend on outside things, but on how you take care of your own inner place. Stoics believe that taking care of your yard means concentrating on things you can manage, like your feelings, thoughts, and choices. Think of this as more than just a thought, picture it happening. Each wilted plant is a part of your life that you have ignored because you were focused on things that were out of your reach. Each weed is a reminder of how negative thoughts or a need for outside approval are stopping you from pursuing your true desires and goals. Stoicism tells us that the peace we seek is not in the chaos of trying to control things that we can't, but in the calm of taking care of our own garden. Ask yourself, where have I put my happiness in the hands of someone else? This is the first step in the process. What parts of my life depend on other people more than I do? Finding these points is the first thing you need to do to take charge of your garden and pay attention to what's important. Taking care of your own yard doesn't mean you're not caring about other people or being selfish. It shows that you respect yourself and others. It means knowing when to make yourself available for yourself and when to give someone else help without taking away your own time. This Stoic concept helps us remember that every plant in our lives, like a garden, needs the time and energy it needs to grow. If we depend on luck or what other people think, it's like hope it rains every day to keep our garden green. Self-discipline and self-care are the water and sunlight for this particular garden. The Stoic way of thinking tells us to stop worrying about things we can't change and instead concentrate on the things we can. The things we think and do then become tools that help us improve our health. Imagine that you could choose every day to get rid of a weed that is making you unhappy or to stop needing other people's praise. Self-care and time to think are like watering the roots of your inner plant every time you do them. You'll feel great as you watch this garden grow as you take care of yourself and set clear limits. Life is not a yard that someone else should take care of. You care for it. Treat every part of your plot with the same care and attention to detail that you would use to grow a yard full of life. Remember that the most beautiful yard is the one that is cared for by its owner, and that the only way to find true peace and happiness is to dedicate yourself all the time. To sum up, if you want your life to be like a garden that grows and thrives, you need to start watering it yourself and making it a place of peace and balance. To say goodbye to perfectionism and stop being so picky. Have you ever thought about how tiring it is to try to be perfect? Using a butterfly net to try to catch a shooting star would be beautiful, but it would not work in real life. If this sounds like you, it's time to let go of that impossible standard and stop being so hard on yourself. Perfectionism is like having a bad friend who is always telling you that you could do better. It forces you to go above and beyond, worry about every little thing, and constantly judge yourself. Life goes on though, and you miss it, while you're busy trying to be the best version of yourself. Imagine you're starting with a blank board and want to make a masterpiece. Every brushstroke looks bad, so you keep painting and fixing it until there are so many layers that the original idea gets lost in the chaos. That's perfectionism trying over and over again to reach an impossible goal, which makes things more difficult and farther away from peace. Stoic thought gives us a different view. Instead of trying to be perfect, it teaches us to be content with what is, focus on what we can change, and know what we can't do. Marcus Aurelius learned through his thoughts that life isn't about making sure everything goes as planned, but about dealing with problems in a calm and balanced way. The goal for Stoics is not perfection, but peace of mind and acceptance of oneself. What can you do with what you've learned? First, be honest about what you expect. If you keep setting goals that are too high, you will always fail. Focus on doing your best in the present instead of trying to be perfect in every way. The quality of your work is judged by how willing you are to learn from your mistakes, not by how few of them you make. Another important step is to learn how to enjoy your wins, no matter how small they are. No matter how small or big the step forward is, it all counts. It's important to value these small steps toward success if you want to let go of the weight of perfectionism. Remember that growing as a person and as a worker is a race, not a sprint. Don't blame yourself for not being perfect. Instead, use every flaw as a chance to learn and grow. You don't have to be perfect to get through life, you just have to be real and keep going. Freedom from being too hard on yourself and giving up on being perfect will help you live a fuller life. Putting down the butterfly net and stopping chasing shooting stars is not going to bring you peace and happiness. Instead, enjoy the trip with all of its flaws. Epicurus said that we can find true inner peace when we accept our flaws and be thankful for the present moment. Lesson 3. Make new friends. Relationships with other people can feel like a game where you can't predict what will happen next. There are often losses along the way. It can be hard to meet new people, like taming a wild dragon. You don't have to be an epic hero to master this job, though. You just need to know why making new friends is important and how to do it without getting nervous. To begin, let's be clear, emotional dependence isn't just something that happens to characters on soap operas, and having a small group of friends can also hurt your mental health in real life. This is where the Stoic mindset comes in handy. The Stoics teach us that how we deal with relationships and expectations has a lot to do with how calm and in control our feelings we are. Think of your comfort zone as a small, cozy office where things don't change much. Leaving that room is like opening a window to let in fresh air. It's not just about making friends when you meet new people, it's also about pushing yourself. People who are stuck in a social pattern should let new things in through a wide open window. You don't have to be the life of the party, just try to go out and honestly share with other people every once in a while. A big discovery talking about yourself isn't what it's all about when you meet new people. Stop sharing about your gym trips or stamp collection if you can help it. You can connect with someone on a deeper, more real level when you listen to them. The Stoics said that talk is just as important as deep thought. Everyone has a story that can help you see things in a new way. If you're afraid of being turned down, picture yourself in a game where the rules change all the time and you never get any further. Everything will not work perfectly every time, and that's fine. Everything you do should help you learn and move on. Stoicism tells us to accept what we can't change and focus on what we can. If a talk doesn't go the way you wanted it to, don't give up, see it as a chance to learn. In a world full of filters and looks, your strength is being yourself. Don't try to be someone you're not just to please other people. Being yourself will help you find the right people and keep your peace. Your people will want to connect with you if you know yourself and stay true to who you are. It might seem hard to meet new people, but it's actually a chance to improve your life. Get out of your comfort zone, listen, be open to being turned down, and stay true to yourself. You will not only make more friends, but you will also build relationships that are deep and important. It's not a matter of luck to meet new people in life, it's a business plan. Brian Tracy says that you can only grow as a person if you let people in and see every exchange as a chance to learn. If you're still reading, it's because you want to end your mental dependence for good. To reaffirm your dedication to peace and self-control, subscribe and leave a comment that says, "My peace comes from within." Making this choice is only the beginning of a free and strong life. In Lesson 7, you will learn a Stoic concept that will change the way you think about relationships and relying on others. It might be the key you've been looking for, so don't miss it. Lesson 4. Do things that make you happy. If you live in a world where life moves quickly, doing things you enjoy might seem like a treat, something you can only do after you've finished your duties. But the Stoics teach us something very important. Enjoying ourselves consciously isn't a waste of time, it's a form of self-care and knowledge that makes our mind and spirit stronger. For a healthy and satisfying life, we need to take a break from always trying to get things done and make time to enjoy the things we love. Think of your life as a garden. You work hard every day to keep it in good shape by doing your duties, reaching your goals, and trying to move forward. But if this yard is only full of chores and duties, it will eventually get boring and lifeless. Adding flowers and trees that reflect those fun things, on the other hand, makes the garden bloom with color, beauty, and meaning. The flowers that bring beauty, harmony, and meaning to our lives are the things we do for fun. If we don't have them, our lives would be a never-ending loop of tasks and obligations, with no breaks or fun times to really enjoy each moment. Stoics, on the other hand, see downtime as more than just a time to rest. They see it as a chance to take care of ourselves, find peace in the present, and reconnect with ourselves. The Stoics said that we should be smart about how we use our time because it is limited and important. As we pay attention to every detail in our work and relationships, and it's just as important to do the same with our leisure and fun time. The important thing is how we spend these free times. In order to be truly fulfilled and feel peaceful and well, we need to choose activities that bring us these feelings. As an example, reading can be a great way to keep our thoughts healthy, especially if we pick books that make us feel inspired and motivated. Imagine reading a book that makes you think in new ways, gives you new views, and connects you with deep ideas, like the writings of Stoic philosophers. This kind of reading isn't just for fun, it helps us think more deeply about things and see life more clearly and peacefully. As you can see, leisure doesn't always have to be helpful. Sometimes all we need is to enjoy the present moment. This can be as easy as going for a walk in the park, listening to nature, or having a nice chat without having to worry about the time. These simple moments of happiness tell us that life doesn't have to be a race to get things done all the time. Yes, sometimes it's enough to just be here and enjoy the beauty of the present moment. But if we're not careful, our free time can easily turn into a trap of things that keep us from focusing. Choose activities that truly satisfy you and make you feel calm and happy instead of instantly filling those times with mindless times, TV or social media. Artistry might help you connect with yourself if you paint, play an instrument, or make something with your hands. They're not just ways to kill time, they're also ways for us to express ourselves and discover our creativity. The Stoics also say that we should enjoy life without feeling bad about it. When we take time for ourselves, we often feel like we're losing it, or that we should be getting something done. But the Stoics said that real production isn't just what we do for other people, it's also how we take care of our own health. We improve our minds and inner peace when we don't feel guilty about enjoying our free time. This is because we realize that taking care of ourselves is just as important as any other duty. Marcus Aurelius, one of the important Stoic emperors and philosophers, said that we can only find happiness in the present moment, not in the outside world. To find peace, we need to learn how to spend our free time in ways that make us stronger and healthier. Leisure isn't just a break, it's a strong way to keep things in balance, and remember that life has many shades and fun times that should be fully experienced. Don't instantly fill your next free moment with things that will take your attention away. Think about how you can use this time to feed your mind and heart. Doing something artistic might be the answer, or maybe all you need is to be at peace with yourself and enjoy the peace and quiet. When we consciously use our free time in this way, every moment of relaxation becomes a chance to grow and think about ourselves, which helps us go back to our tasks with a calm mind and heart. Remember that free time that you use well is an investment in yourself. It helps you recharge and get back in touch with what's important in life. Do not think of it as a waste of time, but as a way to take care of yourself and grow your inner yard. This is what brings us true peace and happiness in the end. Lesson 5. Take some time to be alone. It can be hard to find a moment of peace and quiet in a world full of noise. It can feel like looking for an island in the middle of the desert. Stoicism, on the other hand, tells us that we need to learn to enjoy our own company in order to fully understand who we are and find inner peace. Not only does spending time alone help us learn more about ourselves, it's also a must if we want to stop being emotionally dependent on other people and feel truly free and independent. Think of your mind as a big, lovely garden. Just like any other garden, it needs regular care and attention. If you only go to this yard when you have guests over, it will get weeds and look neglected. There are small flowers that bloom areas that need more attention, and parts that need to be pruned to grow stronger. But when you take time to be alone, watch and care for that space, you start to see things that you hadn't seen before. Spending time by yourself is like going into your inner yard and taking care of it without anyone else getting in the way. Stoicism tells us that true peace doesn't come from always having someone with you, but from being free to feel and think what you want. When we learn to be okay with being ourselves, we build up an inner strength that lets us go through life without needing other people's support or love. The Stoics believe that being alone is a gift that helps us understand our feelings, think, and get to know ourselves better. So how do you start to enjoy these times by yourself? You can start with things you like to do by yourself. It could be just going for a walk, reading a good book, or writing in a notebook. It's important to pick something that lets you connect with yourself and think without worrying about what other people might say or think. Meditation is another great way to get to know yourself better. You don't have to sit with your legs crossed or clear your mind, but you can focus on the present moment and take a few deep breaths every day. The Stoics used this way of thinking to stay cool, because they knew that staying calm without outside distractions is important for keeping inner peace. By reflecting on and observing yourself on a regular basis, you can see past what you see and understand your inner wants and needs. You'll be able to recognize feelings and thoughts that you didn't notice before as you get used to being by yourself. You'll see which worries come up again and again, what makes you anxious, or which memories make you feel bad. By paying attention to these things, you give yourself the chance to work on them and treat them with the same care and patience you'd give a yard. You can get rid of bad thoughts, boost good ones, and learn new things about yourself that you didn't know before. Learning to be okay with silence is part of spending time with yourself. Today, we live in a world where noise and action fill every moment. Silence can be scary. On the other hand, silence is one of the best ways to hear our very own words. By blocking out outside noise, we can better understand our own feelings and thoughts, which helps us make choices that are clear and logical. The Stoics thought that silence was very important for mental growth and reflection. It's not enough to just be alone, you should also use that time to get to know yourself better. The Stoics say that we shouldn't be afraid of being alone, but should instead see it as a chance to let go of other people's demands and find peace in our own company. Because you become emotionally independent as you get to know yourself better, you can enjoy relationships without relying on them for your health. Always remember that being alone isn't a sentence, but a chance to connect with yourself the next time you want to avoid being alone. You don't need other people to be whole, all you need is to get to know and love your own inner yard. Lesson 6: Learn how to say no. As we go about our daily lives, saying yes quickly turns into a habit that we do almost without thinking. We do it to keep the peace and meet other people's standards. But this habit can be bad for our feelings because it can make us tired and like we can't manage our time. Stoic philosophy tells us that if we want to stay peaceful and independent, we need to learn how to say no in a way that doesn't depend on other people's support. Think of your life as a garden. Every time you promise to do something or help someone, you put a seed in that garden. You could quickly fill it with so many plants that you can't move or enjoy its beauty if you don't think about it first. When your garden gets too weedy, you lose the room you need to rest and think, and your health starts to get worse. Saying no is like cutting back the weeds and branches that are getting in the way of your peace and focus. It can be hard to say no, especially when you want to help someone or don't want to let them down. But you need space to grow well, just like a garden does. Ancient sages called the Stoics knew that we can be calm if we can control our responses instead of trying to control the outside world. Epictetus said that our thoughts about things are what bother us, not the things themselves. Learning to say no is a good way to keep your peace and get rid of things that aren't important. Why? It's good for you to say no. Making promises without thinking about them first can cause stress and burnout over time. Every yes you say without thinking is like letting weeds take over your yard. It drains your energy and makes it harder to take care of yourself. Not only does saying no save your time and energy, it also shows that you care about your own needs. Remember that you are in charge of keeping your life in balance, and you shouldn't put other people's needs ahead of your own. To help you say no, here are some ideas. 1. Start small to start. Say no to small requests, like turning down an invite when you'd rather stay home and rest. Getting used to things in smaller settings will help you feel more comfortable in bigger ones. 2. Stay assertive. Being clear and straight without being mean is the key to saying no without getting into a fight. You could say, "Sorry, but I can't commit to that right now," without going into a lot of detail. Being bold is a way to show respect for yourself and others. 3. Remember that your time and well-being are just as important as anyone else's when you feel like you can't say no. In the end, saying yes to everyone means no to yourself. To avoid being too busy, be careful about where you spend your time and energy. 4. Set clear goals. The Stoics say to focus on the things we can control and let go of the rest. Figure out what's most important to you and use that to help you choose when to say yes or no. Saying no is not a sign of weakness. It shows that you know yourself and are determined. Being strong means knowing your limits and sticking to them. Stoicism reminds us that our choices should be based on our own principles and ideals, not on what other people want us to do. Don't feel bad about not meeting other people's needs. Instead, remind yourself that you're taking care of your inner yard and letting it grow in health and beauty. There is a way to live a healthy life without being emotionally dependent on other people. One way is to learn to say no. Take care of your health, keep your inner yard in order, and remember that saying no is just another way of saying yes to peace and happiness. Lesson 7. Put money into yourself. When we think of investments, we usually think of money, real estate, or the market. When we think of ourselves, however, we rarely think of investments. Stoic thought, on the other hand, tells us that the best investment we can make is in ourselves because it pays off the most in the long run. Think of your health as a plant that needs water, light, and food to grow. It doesn't matter how pretty the yard around it is. If you don't take care of it, it will die. Similarly, putting money into yourself isn't a privilege, it's a basic need for a healthy life. Time is a scarce and useful resource. Time is one of the most important things we have today. Instead of spending all of your time on outside tasks, ask yourself, how much time do I really spend on my own health and happiness? The Stoics thought that time for yourself was as important as breathing air. To learn a new skill, relax, or just rest, taking time for yourself is like watering that plant. Without these breaks, we become impulsive people who can't deal with the problems in life in a clear and purposeful way. You need time to get ready and strengthen your mind and body, just like a runner does before a race. The investment of money, spend wisely on your growth. Putting money into yourself might not seem important or selfish, but it's actually neither. Think of money not as a goal in and of itself, but as a way to get ahead. You might want to spend money on things that help you grow as a person. It could be a class that helps you learn more, a gym membership that makes your body stronger, or even a meditation vacation that helps you relax. In this case, it's important to see buying as a way to achieve long-term happiness, rather than as a one-time cost for things that won't really improve your life. Guilt. Get rid of the negative person inside you. When you put money into yourself, you might feel bad about it, like you're being selfish. Society often reinforces this idea, telling us that we should put other people or our current duties first. Stoic thought, on the other hand, tells us that guilt is just a waste of time. Putting money into your physical, mental, or emotional health, and then feeling bad about it takes away energy that you could use to build a balanced and worthwhile life. Don't forget that you can't do your best if you're tired or ignored. The best and smartest way to make sure you have the energy to make the world a better place is to invest in yourself. Getting into the habit of investing in yourself. If putting yourself first seems hard, take small steps at first. Spend a few minutes every day doing things that make you feel good and give you energy. If you keep doing this, you'll soon see that the time you spend on your health and happiness is an important part of your life. Find the things that really make you feel good and make them a regular part of your life, just like you would with any other big purchase. Lesson 8. In a new relationship, set limits that can't be broken. It's easy to jump right into a new relationship at the start, ignoring any warning signs that might be there. Love can be so addicting. To be emotionally stable and at peace with yourself, a Stoic knows that you need to set clear limits and stick to them. Before getting into a partnership, you should ask yourself, have I seen those red flags? Those warning signs that could hurt my health. Setting clear limits in a relationship is not a sign of coldness for a real Stoic. It's a sign of respect and self-care. If you wanted to buy a used car, you wouldn't just jump in and buy it without first making sure the engine and drive work well. Relationships should be the same way. If the person you want to love is missing parts or has flaws that aren't obvious, it will probably make you feel unstable emotionally. This is why a list of red flags can help you stay safe on your romantic trip. Create a red flag list. This list will serve as your personal guide, reminding you of actions or attitudes that have caused you trouble in the past. Do you dislike it when someone gets in your way or wants your attention all the time? You should put that on your list. While everyone has their own set of rules, some actions, like using your emotions against you or not respecting your choices, are always bad. Not because I want to judge, but because I want to protect your health. If the person you're dating always checks their phone or expects to be reached at all times, for instance, think about whether this is a good habit. Don't ignore the signs if these trends have caused you to become dependent or emotionally worn out in the past. The Stoics say that how we deal with our relationships and demands has a big impact on our inner peace. When you set limits, think about your ideals and beliefs. Think about what's important to you. If you need to be alone a lot, you need a partner who will respect your time and space. Stoics say that mental peace isn't dependent on what's going on around you, but on how you choose to deal with it. This means that if someone tries to change or questions important parts of who you are, that could be a sign that something is wrong. Before getting involved with someone, it's a good idea to go over your principles and ideals. This will help you make good decisions. For Stoics, being emotionally stable means that connections should make your life more peaceful and balanced, not less so. Practice saying no in love. Saying no isn't a barrier to love. It's a way for the other person to show respect for your uniqueness. Self-love means setting clear limits and being able to say what you need. If someone tries to cross those lines, know that you have the right and the duty to keep the peace. The ability to love without giving up who you are. If someone loves you without respecting your boundaries, it's like having a broken compass that points you in the wrong way. True love, on the other hand, respects your independence and lets you grow together without giving up anything. A wise saying goes, "He who ignores the warning signs gets lost on the path to happiness." Going into love with self-awareness and a list of unbreakable rules will keep you safe and let you love with freedom and confidence. Ninth lesson: don't give up what you want. In their simplest form, relationships are complicated places where giving and receiving should be the main idea. How often, though, do we give more than we receive, trying to find balance when it never seems to come? You should follow one of the Stoics' main ideas if you've ever felt like your work was wasted because no one responded. Know your worth and turn down anything that doesn't match what you give. As you build a bridge, each brick stands for the work, compassion, and kindness you bring to a partnership. If you keep putting down bricks and the other person doesn't do anything, the bridge will be unfinished and unstable, with only one side supported. The Stoics believe that reciprocity is not a trade of money or exact favors, but a natural flow of mutual respect and worth. Both people in the relationship feel cared for, and working together makes room for growth and safety. Epictetus tells us to think about what we do and what we expect. It's not things that bother us, but how we feel about them, he taught. In this situation, we could say that we hold on to relationships that aren't fair because we overestimate how valuable what we give is and don't really expect anything in return. Stoic thought isn't about always giving, though. It's about figuring out when our worth isn't being seen and acting in a way that shows that. How to use this idea in your daily life. 1. Recognize your worth. Think about what you bring to a relationship or engagement before you start one. Think about your strengths, weaknesses, and how much work you're willing to put in. This isn't about being selfish, it's about knowing that respecting yourself is the key to any deep connection. 2. Watch what they do, not just what they say. Real reciprocity shows up in deeds. Even if someone says they value your time and work, if they don't show it, that's a red flag. Check to see if that person really wants what you have to give, or if they're just there when it suits them. 3. Set clear limits. Not being able to reciprocate can happen when limits are not clear. Stoicism encourages us to be clear and purposeful in how we deal with each other. Write down what you're ready to give and what you're ready to give and what you want to receive. Being clear in your mind about what you deserve is more important than always saying what you want. 4. Remember that exchange isn't something that just happens, it's something that you work on every day. Talk about it freely and honestly if a relationship isn't giving you the balance you want. If the other person doesn't really reply, it might be time to think about ending that connection. In the end, knowing the concept of reciprocity will make you happy because you'll know that you're not in a relationship to fill a need or get something less than what you give. This shows that you respect yourself and your wants. Marcus Aurelius said, "Do not waste what little time you have hoping that other people will like you without caring about yourself. If you apply this lesson to your relationships, you will build a life based on worth, respect, and reciprocity." Lesson 10. Be assertive in your speech. Say something or don't say anything. Have you ever felt like an open book that was left in the dark and waited to be read? But you didn't want to turn on the light? When it comes to relationships, being emotionally dependent on someone can be just as dangerous as traveling through the desert without water. As such, assertive speech is our guide. Instead of becoming a puzzle that others have to figure out, become a clear story that anyone can understand, someone who can clearly say how they feel. Visualize that you're at a party and everyone else is dancing, while you wait in the corner for someone to come up to you. This is what happens when you don't make your feelings and wants known. Being bold doesn't just mean talking more, it also means being able to say what you think and feel without worrying about being judged or not understood. If you're a real Stoic, you don't let your feelings run wild, you take charge and make sure that every word you say shows how you really feel. Advice on how to communicate well. 1. Kind and direct expression. Being bold means being honest about how you feel and what you think without any hesitancy or anger. Tell them how you feel as if you were pointing out a spill on the table if you are upset or nervous. Another person doesn't have to guess, you just take care of clearing things up in a clear and effective way. This method of direct expression keeps you from building up repressed feelings and keeps you from being angry. 2. Use I statements instead of you statements when you talk about how something makes you feel. Don't blame the other person. Instead, focus on how you feel. Instead of saying, "You ignore me all the time," say, "I feel ignored when you don't listen to me." This changes the focus of the conversation, which makes it easier for the other person to understand your point of view without feeling attacked. 3. Listening actively. Being assertive also means being ready to listen. Give someone your full attention if they share something with you, even if what they say doesn't interest you right away. Real listening helps people understand each other better and builds relationships, which leads to a more balanced and real interaction. Stoic philosophy tells us that the best way to live in peace is to control our feelings and communicate clearly. Epictetus said that we should control our own responses instead of trying to control other people. This includes how we think about and talk about what's going on inside us. When your mind is full of things you want to say but can't, know that your voice is your guide. Communication that is open and polite is the first step to emotional freedom. Once you have this, you can handle any relationship without worrying about what other people think or feel about you. Finally, there is a question that everyone needs to think about and answer on their own path. What role does your inner peace play in the life you're making? In a world that makes us look for approval and answers outside of ourselves, maybe the only way to really be free is to learn how to find our way around inside ourselves. Part of what makes us human is our need to be emotionally dependent, our attachment to praise, and our desire to be accepted. But how much power do we give them over who we are and our happiness? Maybe the hard part isn't getting rid of these wants, but changing them from dependence to independence, from wanting to be liked to accepting yourself, and from being afraid of being alone to finding yourself in silence. Finally, life will always show how we relate to ourselves. What kind of image do you want to see? Let's keep this question open as a constant challenge to learn and grow. Remember that real peace and power are always there, waiting for us to choose to grow them. How did you deal with these problems? I'm excited to hear your stories. Share your successes, your problems, and your life stories. To show that you finished our lesson, write, "I find strength in my own serenity," if you don't know what else to say. If this material speaks to you and fits with your values for living with Stoic wisdom, don't forget to subscribe. Your voice is very important here. Every thought makes our community stronger and more awe-inspiring by showing how valuable each person really is and adding to our Stoic identity. Are you ready to have a better, calmer mind? The book Path of Wisdom Modern Stoicism for Daily Life will teach you how to become stronger, more focused, and more balanced every day. You can get a 40% deal by clicking on the first pinned comment. Start today on your path to a wise and strong life. We'll see you at our next meeting at Stoicism for Winners, where we'll keep looking into how to use the rich knowledge of the Stoics in modern life. Now is the time to learn more about Stoicism by going to the new events that have been suggested. Until we meet again, know that you are the only one who can change how you see things, make peace, and fight your own battles. This is what Stoicism left us with: the art of being unbeatable.